Today in Johannesburg, Mandla Mandela, the grandson of former South African President Nelson Mandela, addressed South Africans after returning from Is Not Real. There he was detained and imprisoned for 6 days, then deported after joining a flotilla intended to deliver aid to Gaza. This press conference was his first public statement back home. He links what is happening in Is Not Real to a very old question. Who decides whose movement is allowed? Whose identity is imposed, and who controls the choke points?
Khoi and the San people, they were totally eliminated as we refused settler colonialists on our land. But what is also important for South Africans to note is that the 1884 Berlin Conference robbed us of our land and enforced borders upon our continent for the beneficiary of 7 colonial states.
Now, between 1984 and 1985, European powers met in Berlin. They adopted the General Act, 7 chapters and 38 articles to manage the expansion in Africa. Their key planks: free trade in the Congo Basin with equal access for all flags, bans on monopolies and discrimination, and no import or transit duties beyond cost recovery. International navigation regimes for the Congo and Niger rivers, anti-slavery commitments, and protections for missions and science. Optional neutrality in wartime, and mechanisms for mediation or arbitration. And then 2 rules that actually set the tempo of conquest. Article 34, which required notification of any new coastal occupation. Article 35, demanding sufficient authority on the ground to protect rights and commerce. Protectorates were exempt from that effectiveness test, creating a second legal route to control via treaties of protection. During and after this conference, recognitions and side agreements elevated King Leopold II's Association Internationale de Congo. And within months, in July 1985, the Congo Free State was proclaimed. And on paper, these rules promised open doors and safe passage. But in practice, making free trade and free navigation function required custom posts, concessions, armed policing, and coerced labor. Now, administrative power kept growing to guarantee commerce, and the same machinery was just entrenched in colonial rule. Mandela's line about this points to the beneficiaries of that order: Belgium, Germany, the United Kingdom, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and France. Borders were drawn to balance their claims. Communities were split or fused. Identities were re-engineered by statute or passbook. And in 1909, leaders from the South African Native Congress and the African Political Organization traveled all the way to London to contest the constitutional order taking shape in the Union. An order rooted in Berlin-era logics of authority and control. And the legacy is visible today. Borders that slice through kinship. Economies built for extraction and export. Permissions and prohibitions that decide which ships pass and who gets sent back. Who gets to speak, who gets to travel, and who is silenced. Mandela and all of the other activists' imprisonment makes this question immediate again. Who writes the rules of movement, and who bears the cost when power enforces them? Berlin didn't just draw lines on a map. It codified a system. Free trade, free navigation, effective rule. That arranged sovereignty, access, and identity. The text is 18th century, but the consequences are very much present day. And because history has a funny, not funny way of repeating itself, tomorrow we'll have a look at the lie of 1652 and how the power shifts in hand in the global north then impacted the very people in the southern tips of Africa.